Hi everybody. I had a conversation the other day, you know the ones we often have about if you could only have one bike, what would it be? But it led me on to another question that I get asked quite a lot, and that is, do you think there'll ever be another Honda VFR? So let's have a look at that. Well, given that I've just done a video on the demise of the V4 as a road engine, I could probably give a flat no to that question. But the thing is, trends change, and I think there could be a possibility of more sports tours coming on the scene. And when I say sports tours, it's important to note that that's my view of a sports tourer, which is in this vein. A sports bike that's morphed a bit softer and panniers, top box included, something like that, with versatility such as shaft drive, if you like, and items like that. And I think a lot of the tall rounders, as they call them now, sometimes they are described as sports tourers, but they're more in the adventure sort of genre, tall bikes, not a low slung, sleek sports tourer in the way I'm sure many of you think of them. Of course, we know we've got the, as I've mentioned before, the Kawasaki Ninja 1000, and the recent to me really, the Suzuki GSX-S 1000 GT, which is in the traditional sports tourer mode. And recently we've also had that Moto Guzzi Mandello, which again is sort of my cup of tea, although it's still a bit tall. It still has that adventure look about it, but it has a nice look, it has the shaft drive. That's almost there, but not quite. And of course I can't forget the BMW R1250 RS, which again is, I've said before, is probably as close to the VFR in the sports touring guys that I would consider. But when I said about trends changing, back in the sort of early 70s when I got into bikes, motorbikes were basically just that. An engine, a couple of wheels, a frame. You'd call them nakeds now, but to us they were just motorbikes. There'd been a few fairings added on specials up to that point, and even Triumph had like faired rears with bathtubs, I believe they called them, and you get fading clocks and headlight, but generally bikes were pretty much naked. And then as we got into the late 70s, we started to see bikini fairings appearing, getting more of a box look, and clocks set in a dashboard rather than two big clocks set up on their own. So we started to see a change there, and then of course in the 80s the sports bikes sort of kicked off, but again slowly with half fairings. The FZ750 started off with a sort of half fairing, but morphed into the full fairing, the version I had in the 1990 version I had. They all started to lean towards the sporting end, and there wasn't a lot of naked bikes about. There was one or two, but everything was driven to this sports bike side of things. And then again, we then had a step back when Kawasaki brought out a few Kawasaki Zephyrs, which were at that time called retro bikes. But can you believe it? That's 30 years ago. So the retro bikes are almost as old as the classic bikes they were copying, as it were. So we saw a little bit of a backward step there, trend-wise, for nostalgia purposes. And then as the 90s ended, we still had that very strong sports bike trend, but getting even racier, lighter, faster, more powerful. That carried on through the 2000s. Then we had your hyper bikes like your Hayabusa, ZZR 1400 and the like, and the Blackbird in there. But it was the VFR, I think, that started this look, this sort of like a sporty bike that's able to tour. Of course, all bikes are quite sporty because the wheels, an engine and a seat. And all bikes can tour, you can strap luggage to any bike, but it's how well it combines it that's the key. And some people might argue that the VFR didn't set off the sports tourer trend, and that might be true, but I've got dozens of magazines in the loft, and whenever somebody brought a sports tourer out, it was always compared to the VFR. The headline was always, "Is this the new VFR Beta?" Just off the top of my head, the Triumph ST 955 initially, and then 1050, the Aprilia Futuro, a few others that slip my mind at the moment. But everything was compared to the VFR. So, will we get back to it? Will we get back to this look, the sporty bike that can tour, or will it all go tall? I don't know. I think we will have a change somewhere. I should mention the BMW K 1200 and 1300 in there, but they are a close sports tourer like to the VFR. So will we return to it? Perhaps not for the foreseeable future, but I certainly hope so, because this is just the type of bike that I like. Even going back to me FZ and me Kawasaki ZX9R, they always had a bit of practicality to them. They weren't out-and-out sports bikes. And apart from me Phaser 1000, which effectively was a naked with a fairing, I've just always preferred the sporty look. So it will be interesting to see what does develop over the next few years. You will see a few YouTube videos with headlines, 2025 new Honda V4, but I'll take them with a pinch of salt, you know, just clickbait really, although they look fantastic, and it would be great if they were developed. But as I say, the V4 engine, there's no sign that that's going to reappear. We've got the NT1100, and it's probably a very good bike, and all reports say it's very good, but again, it's developed from the Africa Twin. It just hasn't got this sports tour, what I think of as a sports tour look. So I'm hoping something will develop along the lines of the VFR, but for the moment, I don't know. I mean, they stopped making these in 2018, I think, in the 821, so if I need another one, I'll have to hurry up before they all get too old. So I'd welcome your thoughts on that, and thanks again for watching. Bye.